So I was a proper poker, like just plodder. I was like, just like just want to hit that. Oh.
It's 25 yards offline, but at that distance, that's what someone who shoots 69 would do.
Yeah.
That's the advantage to speed.
I was that kid growing up.
You look like that kind of kid.
You can always spot them.
Obviously fast back, and I'm just trying to get...
Did I hear bones crack?
Yeah, I heard something.
Everything's cracking. Yeah, that's correct. This is a painful journey.
We are on the journey to 180 mile per hour ball speed. This series is all about getting fast. This is episode 5. I was in Denver, Colorado. Got to spend some time with Mark Crossfield and Nick Clearwater, and they're going to talk to me about my journey, their experiences with gaining speed, and we're building on some past episodes. So make sure to watch those, and let's get into today's thoughts with Mark and Nick.
All right, today we are in Denver, Colorado to continue the road to 180. We've got 2 great guests. Let's get to it. All right, so here with my friends, Nick and Mark.
Best friends.
Best friends. And we're on the road to 180. We're hanging out doing a podcast. I said, hey guys, I need your best advice on speed. Mark, you've done this yourself. This challenge.
So the main things that I did in my journey was, one, I looked at myself and how weak physically I am. So I had to actually put some thought into my body, which I've never ever done. The good thing with that is it's one of those really quick inclines if you start, because you're starting from nowhere.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I climbed quite quick and I'm now plateauing, which means you need to do another push, but that's another story.
What really helps is traveling all the time,
Yeah.
sitting on airplanes
having
from
to film
Europe
all
to
day
America.
and-
No, that helps a lot.
I also looked at me as well, because if I was going to start pushing harder, physically hitting shots, I know that my brain will enable me, I'm quite able to move in certain ways. I think my brain will go, yeah, go for it, swing really hard, and then my body in a few days or a month will start going, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So it was a combination of that's going to give me speed, and B, it's going to allow me to actually build speed and not hurt myself.
Yep.
And then big thing for me, I tried to squeeze every ounce out of whatever tech I had. I've got force plates.
Yeah.
So where am I losing energy and not using the ground very well? I was rubbish at using the ground. Really weak, great for accuracy. Proper plodder, just sway across, stay really connected to the ground.
Well, show us. I want to, because you're like, if people look at your swing on your channel from like 3 years ago
I'll
versus
hit
now.
a couple to show you the difference. So I was a proper poker, like just plodder. I was like, just like a Faldo, pretty nice little swing, all balanced on lead side, no real intention to hit it.
Yeah.
Just want to hit that. Almost fairway. Where in contrast to now, what you're going to see is a lot more movement pre-hit, a lot more aggression going into backswing. And if you watch my impact, or this ball could go anywhere because I'm not warm, but so you can see how much more I'm moving around. I'm like proper itchy.
Okay.
I'm really trying to rev the engine, and then I'm literally, I'm trying to smash it as hard as possible. That's a toe off to the right, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So what's interesting, so I'm not warm.
Yes.
I remember a time where 161 ball speed was my goal. At 150.
Yeah.
So I would have been getting 160, 161s and thinking, so to be able to hit one here on camera, and it's the second drive I've hit today, and 161 is my bottom side, is like so exciting.
Yeah.
So it was a great journey. I went from 150 to 155. I now would gain 162 to 167 at a push. So your journey to 180, I would like to get to 175 would be where I would want to get to in the long term.
What do you think? What are your thoughts on, like, what stands out from Mark's story to you, like as a coach on?
To try to hit it farther, for sure. Well, definitely the bigger, stronger, faster you are gives you potential to hit it far. And then if your technique is productive at using that potential force you have, then that's a great start. Everybody should be doing something that's lifting heavy things, not for a long time, just short, fast workouts that are super hard.
I don't do that.
No
I mean, I know that's like holding me back.
Yeah.
I just like, I'm with Mark. I don't.
Well, I was lucky enough to spend some time with James Sadlowski. Big question I asked him, I just had to ask him this: how much hitting balls, how much in the gym?
Yeah.
I can't remember the exact numbers. He was either 80 or 90% gym. He said, I can hit the grid. Like, I can hit the grid within reason. Yeah. I just need to be able to do it for a long period of time and as fast as. So he was all gym, and you stand next to someone like him, he's a big guy, but he's a good shape of a human being. That's
a good, easy one to gain distance. Really hard to get the application of it done so that you're getting some sort of physiological change in your body. Yeah.
Got it.
I don't think people move themselves to use the ground very well.
Totally.
So it's whether you're staying bent forward at a time when tour players or Jamie Sadlowski is moving himself backward, like you get the pattern wrong. So one example could be on the downswing. By the time the shaft's parallel to the ground, you need to stop flexing your knees, your ankles, your pelvis, stop bending forward, your shoulders, stop bending those forward. And your hips, knees, and ankles should already be extending at that point, and your shoulders begin a little bit before then. So understanding that before you hit this ball, you need to be bending yourself backward and straightening everything from your ankles up to the top of your neck is a misunderstood concept in golf. It's that sagittal plane movement like this. Yeah. This is the most misunderstood part of golf. You're always changing your forward and backward bend as a golfer, but rarely do you hear that talked about very much. So learning how to even make a short swing and then very quickly hit a shot and stop fast with your body as extended as you can from your ankles up to your shoulders at least is a good way to practice punching balls with your driver as hard as you can to get the ground reaction force Mark's talking about to go upward, to spike that ground reaction force a lot.
I want to see that because I need, well, and I'll tell you guys kind of what we've talked about in like last episodes. Like Mark and I were just talking, I was with Mark Blackburn. We were finding like I'm putting force into the ground.
Yeah.
It's just not timed up great.
Which is the most people watching, you get them on force plates, they create force.
Yeah.
Not many don't, but it's very rarely at the right time.
Yeah.
For strike, low point control, and distance. Because where you control those forces influence low point. Such a huge region, so many people catch it. In fact, to your point about this, the way they're extending or not, that also is how they're pushing in the ground. It all comes out.
If you do that too early, then you have a harder time with the longitudinal acceleration of the grip. So now your radial to ulnar transfers too quickly, and the radius of the stroke is too long. You're hitting behind the ball. See kids jumping off the ground too soon, but don't have enough acceleration of just their arms and the abduction of their lead arm. Then pretty soon they're just hitting behind the ground. Can hit a driver okay because it's propped up on a tee, but it can't hit anything off the turf.
I was that kid growing up.
You look like that kind of kid.
Yeah. Thanks. No, I do. Yeah. I'm glad you can spot that.
You can always spot him. You can always spot him.
In a crowded room.
You walked in that door like 8 years ago and we did our first video. Like, that's him. Yeah. He's a jumper.
All right, here we go. I want to show you. Let me tell you guys what we're doing. So I've widened my stance.
Good.
Flaring lead, just some limited hip mobility. So we're trying to.
Do you know how much you widen your stance out of interest? And
No.
that's a really common one on force plates. Again, it measures how far you're standing.
Okay.
Like you look at tour pros' widths of stance, they're big.
Yeah.
I mean, they are bigger guys, but compared to where I would stand with a driver, let's say 15 inches, they were like, Poulter was like 21 or something inches. Just don't quote me on those numbers, but it was so much more. So I like that for a start.
Okay.
They're set up to smash it.
Yeah.
They're not set up to hit pitch feet together driver. They are like, they're going.
Yeah. Wide stance, flaring a little bit, trying to get like deep and obviously fast back. And I'm just trying to get.
Did I hear bones crack? When you did
I heard
that?
something.
Everything's cracking. Yeah, that's correct. This is not easy. I want to iterate. This is a painful journey.
I get that.
It is a painful journey to 180.
So you're trying to make the backswing higher in your head?
Yeah.
So you're trying to make your hand path longer.
Yes. Get up and like ideally if I could do this, like that'd be great. But that's what I got to feel to kind of mildly.
Okay.
Right?
Opposed to you feeling like you're quite connected and down.
Correct. Like I'm doing
Okay.
like normal. Yeah. It's like we're throwing a med ball, trying to like, and I'm trying to jump earlier.
And you're trying to chuck that med ball down here?
Yes. Yep. I have a video where I knocked frames off his walls in his
right, lovely.
in his I was throwing this thing all over the place.
In his expensive studio.
Yeah, it was fine. There's nothing injured. I'm trying to get here and get moving that way. So because I got to get speed to that club.
Yeah.
Which is hard.
So this is, I'm presuming, without seeing that video and speaking to Mark, you're talking about maybe a vertical force, which you probably create, and is probably a little bit late.
Yep.
Nick, with you, what are your thoughts? Because obviously that is a reaction force. Mm-hmm. So would you fix that reaction force by trying to do what happens before? Or would you try and fix a reaction force?
I would explain to him when you're going to start bending backward and jumping, like we did just a minute ago. And then I would practice how you're going to coordinate that with the follow through. So for you to hit a certain checkpoint or two in the follow through, you'll have to move your wrist from radial to ulnar. You'll have to get your hand path starting to move upward, but not by pulling the grip towards you. You do that a different way.
Yeah. Yes, that's exactly what we talked about, because I don't decelerate well, because I hang on, and that's one thing we talked about was like I'm hanging on, right? And I'm trying to get it to let go around as well, right?
So as in you feel
all
like
the
you
same
don't
thing.
accelerate these very well, is that what you mean, your hands?
Yes, yep. So we were talking about this part of this was also like, how do we get it? How do we get it moving around?
It does slow you down. It's just the arc that your hand path travels on needs to, it does break some. Yeah. It's not going faster when you hit, although most people would be better suited to try to go faster, but that's not reality of how it would work. To hit the farthest, you do want to throw the brakes on some, but it's really the upward and inward part of your hands that needs to be happening at the right time. So the grip into the club when the shaft's parallel to the ground isn't going down anymore. Yeah. That's got to go up, which then when the grip starts to go up, the club head starts to move faster as a result there. But if you do that too much, or you don't move the grip towards the target long enough and the club head starts going past your hands, that's your bad shots off the ground.
Well, I struggle with that move that you're talking about. Like, so you're saying,
I think
like is this and then
the backward bending even more from your shoulders. So we measure that on OptiMotion. Do you get to at least 8 degrees back by the time your right humerus is parallel to the ground?
So we're saying back, you're saying as in back.
Yes,
but rotated and turned.
Yeah, and less about your hips, you know, how you're demonstrating that by a lot of hip bend back. It's really just right here back.
Right.
I would try to keep your hips very level.
Yeah.
And the extension happens
so
like shirt buttons back. So there's shoulder retraction, your clavicles move backward, extend your neck like through the ball. That's what makes your hand path go up, or that's one mechanism to it. I think a lot of people right now are trying to I heard an analogy, rip the grip off. Well, coming through the ball just with your elbows flexing, your wrist going into extension, that could help you go a little faster, but that's the lacking part is how you're moving yourself to spike that ground reaction force hard. Go to where your arm is parallel to the ground, a little further. Yep, that's your arm, not the shaft. Good job.
Thank you. Sorry, they get confusing. I am one with my golf.
We
ball.
do this.
You knew that.
We do this.
We are
all day long.
Very in sync.
After doing this all day, you get so bored, don't you? Okay, then you're gonna hit this like as hard as you can down the range, and you can do whatever you want with the radial deviation, although I'd tell you still just keep doing the ulnar all the way, so your arm and the shaft are in a straight line. Okay. But you're trying to do that as hard and as fast as you can by using yourself as the mechanism to launch that club.
So here
and hit it hard, but stop even shorter. The shorter part of the club or of the swing itself means you need to get that whole motion of bending backward, like someone going off a ski jump. Yeah. Has to be done in like this tiny window. You can't wait until the club is over your head and get that done in this case. So it's a short backswing, punching the ball as hard as you can, throwing the brakes on as extended as you can. Not pulling your arms across your torso, don't bend your elbow. Yep. Yeah. And then you're learning how to move yourself quicker. You don't need to do a ton in your hips. Your hips only go back a couple degrees, and at that point, then you're starting to bend backward more, and you put some strain on your lumbar back. That's not what you should do. You should have your hips really level when your arms are parallel in the follow-through, but as much extension from your shoulders up, less turning, and I would just do pretty standard type of radial deviation, similar to how you would have had the radial deviation or the angle between the shaft and your arm when you hit the ball. Yep. I wouldn't change that a whole lot.
Is this drill we're learning how to decelerate?
Learn how to move yourself fast and stop quickly.
Okay.
Yes, which is your hand
I don't even know
speed
if I can hit this.
and your arms. So it's like the longest, hardest punch
I
shot.
have taken a little step back. Don't be offended by my step back.
Smash a punch shot driver. Throw the brakes on quick after impact. Good. So then you'd straighten your legs more on the next one. Try to hit it even harder, stopping at that same point in time that you have. Now for amateur golfers, this is teaching you how to bend backward quickly and how to do it on the downswing and the follow through and get it all done, all that stretching backwards that you're changing from the downswing when your knees are flexed, your hips are bent forward, your shoulders are bent forward. Get out of that forward bend by the time your arms are parallel to the ground. Don't wait to get out of that forward bend until you've finished your swing.
Oh yeah. Now, we've got a sky.
So when you hit the ground like that, tell me what the ball is kind of screaming at you to do a little different next time.
Well, I've got it. I'm not good. I'm not
club's too close to the turf, right? So now you need to do it more.
Extend up.
More and sooner.
So it's almost like what
And
Mark
besides,
is
that's
saying.
my driver. You can, or our driver. You can pop it up.
It's
on
almost like what Mark's saying, but he's condensing it into that tiny
Yeah.
space.
Last time we were talking about my lead leg. I've always kept it bent through impact like this.
So
and you
common.
Your goal, though, is 180. So you just want to max out as much as you can on the bending forward and the bending backward to spike the ground reaction force, to make your hand path move upward faster, move your wrist from radial to ulnar quicker, slow your hands down.
Yeah, this is great. I love this drill because it's hard, so that means that I'm.
It's just like a long, hard punch shot driver. Good. Now you should feel like you're up as high as you can go, your legs are as
Yeah,
straight as you
yeah.
can get, and you can probably start to recognize your knees are still flexed.
Yeah.
You're a
Try
little
it
more
out,
bent
Mark.
forward.
Yeah.
I want to see you do that. Let's get your thoughts on that because that's an interesting drill.
This is a skill to practice, though. Like you hit these tiny punch shots with irons, you just
Yeah.
don't do it with your driver. But you train your motor program, which is your entire swing anyway, how to go short, quick, and stop fast, then it's not so hard.
Okay. Well, for me though, that feeling is just that feeling is foreign, right?
Now imagine that's really good.
See,
It's
like
very
this
moldable.
does this. Yeah, this makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have at the start because I was also very much buried in this leg. You know, I was so
Right.
out here buried, literally just patting it forward.
Yes.
This feels like everything I've practiced, which is to really let everything get out before I hit the ball. So
Yeah.
get out, get out, get out,
Yeah.
basically, rather than what so many amateurs do is they just stay in this kind of
Forward
fixed
bend, yeah.
position.
That's where if every golfer that ever watches a video like this just started learning how to make a backswing to where your humerus is parallel to the ground with a ton of thoracic extension and stopped when your right arm was parallel to the ground with the same thoracic extension or more, you'd be on your track to learn how to play golf. Without being able to do that, you almost can't function as a golfer.
Right.
So forget about, that's the basics really, is how to do that shot and be good at it.
Let me give one a rip. We'll see how
Yeah.
fast we can get. Should we just
Yeah,
to
yeah.
close the video out?
Just to benchmark where you are.
yeah.
I'm sure this will be 210.
Just one question: as you've got quicker, which
Yeah.
you have,
Yeah.
are you finding your accuracy changes or not?
No.
Doesn't, does it?
I've always
Very
been someone
tiny-
like swing harder, goes straighter.
Yeah,
Like,
and I see that with amateurs. I don't know if
Yeah.
you have as well. I see that with everyday golfers. We did a golf school in Canada, and at the end of it, we got everyone swinging, and like you had a lot of 105s, 108s.
Yeah.
Like they played hockey. These guys were keen. They were strong.
Yeah.
They could hit it. We had 8 left-handers, by the way, out
Yes.
of 12. And
Always.
like, that blew my
Treasures
head
not
off.
more.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But at the end of them all trying to just smash it, commit, change mentality, feeling harder, they all increased by like, I think the least was 3 mile an hour club head. We had
Yeah.
one that went 10 mile an hour faster. Like loads of golfers playing a position of like being petrified.
yes.
Don't move, don't move, don't move.
Well, you saw you brought it up in a different video, the Nick
Yeah.
Faldo kind of days. Maybe
Totally.
maybe you did that here even. Now that I remember it, of really just feeling like everything's kind of in a body cast.
It's like all
If you move
restricted.
less, it'll be better. When
Yeah.
it's the total opposite.
100%. And you see, and that's not just good player related.
Yeah.
I
Bad
see it
player
with
related.
Joe, any blog swinger, any handicap. Yeah.
As a junior golfer, like you're swinging too hard. You know, you're swinging too hard. It's like what?
Nope.
Yeah.
What? Yeah. Anyways, here we go.
I think Tiger Woods in 2000 was swinging too hard.
Yeah.
Low.
He swung too hard.
But what was
No.
the head speed? So this is the other thing I think is really interesting that you need to be careful. The first thing you reacted to was strike.
It was,
Oh,
yes.
no. Don't care.
Yeah, it's true.
I literally don't care where you've hit that on the face because when I wanted 120 head
Yeah.
speed, that was 116.
Yeah.
What I started to do, which was really key, is I would hit literally no focus on anything
Okay.
external. Club head speed, I would guess it, but I was guessing ball speed.
Yeah.
So I was really focused on ball speed, and then I could guess club as well.
Right.
So I would know if I struck it, okay, that ball speed's X.
Yeah.
And I got really good at calling it, which was making me really in tune with my physical movements, what was being measured.
Right.
So you shouldn't care where you hit that. You should care
That's
that that's
true.
4 mile an hour too slow.
Yep.
But to tell you where you hit it, 305, 3 feet to the left of the center line.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
That'll play.
When
That'll
you're,
play.
when you're top ending, so this club head speed needs to be 118.
Yep. Okay.
Don't care
here we
where the
go.
ball goes.
Come on, do better, Cordy.
Call the club head speed.
That was 118. Yeah. That had.
119.
19.
And what I found when I did that as well, which was really interesting, is some days I was really in tune.
Okay.
That was that club head speed, that club head speed. I would hit other shots that felt faster,
Yep.
and they were slower. And what I realised is, again, when I struck it out in the middle, my brain would go, that's faster.
Yeah. Exactly.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking that way, how do you ever improve clubhead speed? You're flawed on
Yes.
what you think is fast and slow because you're reacting to. I struck that one right. That must have been faster, and it was like 2 miles an hour slower. It was really interesting to learn that. So separating that clubhead out
Right.
from strike, like you didn't do there,
Yeah.
is key. So that kind of inhibition's going, and you just going flat out with it.
I like it. Super fun, guys. Thanks for
Cool.
the thanks
Good
for the
luck
tips.
on it. Good
Joining
luck.
the
You'll
journey.
get there. You'll get
You
there.
use shot score for the driver all the time too. I don't know if you do, but
Yeah.
you see what that one is. That's 25 yards offline, but at that distance, that's what someone who shoots 69 would
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a nice miss-hit driver. That's the advantage to speed, is it's such a separator. You can start getting a little wider with your pattern.
Yeah.
Still get great results.
That's only one off. My highest on at Skytrack is 120. So that's, I mean,
think it's
good.
good.
I
Mark's
gotta
here.
keep pushing.
Love it.
but it'll
Keep
be good.
going.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.